I'd just like to caution here that you do have to do the same thing for font files. And the reason is that there have been a number of font publishers who have reissued font files with identical names but different contents, notably in things like character dimensions and kerning tables. And this can royally mess up typesetting if you think you have the same font but don't. I happen to have a real example of this on my shelf, a book where the authors in mathematics submitted the book to the publisher. The publisher believed that they had the same fonts, but in fact, there were a number of glyph remappings that happened. And so the entire book was botched by several math characters appearing with completely wrong glyphs, leading to tremendous confusion on the part of the readers. So a checksum there could have detected the fact that, say, a font called CMR10.PFA was not the same at both ends. So let's not omit any files in this procedure. It's important to catch them all.
So could you say conceptually what you have is a use package would name a package and then contain a hash to determine the version?
Well, the hash would be, in most cases, supplied as part of a configuration file, and the two will be matched up time. So there'll be a configuration
conceptually.
Yeah. At one level, that's what's happening. Yes. You could presumably say, I don't want a particular name of package. I want a particular file in terms of its content, and the system should support that. I half agree with Nelson. When I say half agree, there's numbers between 0 and 1, and I'm trying to get from 0 to a half so that I've got some users. And then when I've got some users, I can put out the begging bowl and say, well, can we get the other half, please? It's worth saying that the idea that CMR10.TFM is the same everywhere is deep built into the assumptions of TeX, and it is built into the portability, not of TeX documents, but of DVI files. DVI files are portable. And I don't see any reason at this stage to mess with that. Although if you're shipping off a DVI file to somebody and you're cautious, then it might be sensible to say, and here's the checksums for the DVI, for the TFM files that you need. If you are that cautious, then you should be checksumming your TFMs and having those checksums accompany the DVI file. And in a certain sense, that's what's happening with a portable TeX document, is that you're saying, here are the style files I need, here are their names, and these are the secure hashes that you should be using with them. So you can check that you've got the same style files. And that in some ways, perhaps an easier way to say what's going on, rather than saying what the mechanism is. So every input should be, if I take Nelson's point of view, every input should be checksummed with a secure hash. And part of the portability is stating what those secure hashes are. And that's exactly what it is.
Here's one area where I think we may still have a problem. As long as we're using fonts that would normally be found in the TeX distribution tree, MikTeX or TeXLive, I think we're pretty much okay. The problem is fonts in the Unicode repertoire, because we have 3 different Unicode library layers, the one from IBM that Unix systems use, the one from Apple that Mac OS uses, and the one from Microsoft that Windows uses. These 3 libraries will take the name of a font and find it, but I'm not convinced. We'd have to dig deep into documentation. I'm not convinced it's possible to find the exact path name that it actually found. And this whole mechanism really depends on being able to enumerate a list of every single file returned from the file system in the course of the job, and recording that. And then an external tool could collect all of those names, generate the hashes, and generate a simple TeX macro that mapped file names to hashes.
Can I say something based on my experience of publishing my own ebook based on, typesetting a text document in the bundle for the application? Remember, I mean, I don't know what fonts are on somebody else's iPad or on their system or whatever, so I had to provide the glyphs in little baby open type fonts that the app, it typesets the text document, and then after the document is typeset, the library can report what fonts and what sizes were used, and then those can be installed by the app to be drawn on a simulated page. But, in the open type, true type world, these Unicode fonts are huge. They're megabytes and megabytes of data, and only a few glyphs from any given font might be used compared to the total. So, one of the things that a truly efficient portable document ought to be doing is only including the glyphs that it's actually going to use from any given font. I don't know how to do that really. There's a lot of work that could be done to synthesize fonts on the fly that only have the glyphs used or something like that. But it's kind of a complicated problem, but these fonts are getting larger and larger. So that's one issue that I worry about. I don't know, just a thought.
I
Okay.
thought PDF Tech does that already, doesn't it? It subsets a font other than the standard ones.
I think PDF probably does it.
Yeah.
I'm not, but it's something you're going to have to wrestle with in a portable tech document world too. But in my case, my solution was to include these small fonts because I was only using a simple font. I just include it in the bundle, so I'm guaranteed, and it's the same font that the TFM metrics use. So I'm guaranteed that it's going to work reproducibly on everybody's iPad.
I'm taking a somewhat minimalist approach to this because it would be nice. I think it would be an achievement if I get something half useful at the end of the year, even though most of us here don't get much practical benefit from it. But a proof of concept showing how everything worked would, I think, be a step forward.